Hello, RUSD. This is David Benny, and I'm here with my good friend Joe Benvega. Today we're doing an instructional video on how to use Google Drive. So if you've ever used Google Drive before, this will probably be the video for you. To access Google Drive, you just want to go to your ClassLink page, such as you're seeing on my screen here, and there should be an icon that says Google Apps. If you give that a click, and you find the one that looks like the triangle with the green, yellow, and blue symbol, and you click that, you will open your Google Drive. My Google Drive is somewhat elaborate. I've got a lot of stuff in it, but I'm just going to go through some of the basics with you, and then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your tech integrator or your instructional coach for help on accessing your Google Drive. Along the left-hand side, there are a couple of different areas to point out. The first is My Drive. My Drive is basically a virtual hard drive that sits in the cloud. So anything that you put into that hard drive is saved at Google's servers. So it's very similar to the hard drive on your computer, except in this case, it's virtual and can be accessed anywhere that you have an internet connection. So these are your personal files that go into My Drive. The shared drives is kind of like a place where you and a group of team members can house documents together, and everyone in the shared drive has equal access rights to every piece of information that's put in there. So whether it's a Google Doc, a slide, a spreadsheet, images, any of that kind of stuff, everyone has equal access rights to anything that's created in the shared drive. Finally, shared with me are some of the most recent documents that have been shared with your RUSD account. And so you can kind of scroll through and see the share dates of a bunch of different things that have been shared with me over the last month or so. And so you may have files that have been being shared with you already, you just may not have been aware of that. Joe, anything I'm missing on the kind of the basics of this interface here with My Drive, shared drives, and shared with me?
No, I think you nailed it on that. The only thing with shared drives is just to remember that you literally are sharing it. So if you put a file in there, it's no longer yours, it's shared file.
So to clarify on that, Joe, if I put a file in there and I'm sharing it with you and you delete that file, is it then gone for me as well?
Yeah, it'll be gone for you as well, and we'll have a rocky relationship.
Okay, that's so go into those shared drive agreements with that and mindset to start with, I would say. At the top where it says new, these are kind of some of the different types of things that you could be creating. Let me go back to My Drive in your virtual hard drive. So you can make a new folder to organize your hard drive. You can make a new Google Doc, a new Google Sheet, a new Google Slide. And if you click more, these are all different tools that you can use within Google Drive. And we aren't going to go into great detail with these features today, but just be aware that they exist. Docs is very similar to Microsoft Word. Google Sheet is very similar to Microsoft Excel, and Google Slides is very similar to Microsoft PowerPoint. And those are probably the big three that I think you would start using if you were to venture into the Google Drive world. Today, we're going to basically go over uploading files into your Google Drive and utilizing some of the sharing techniques that you can basically harness with Google Drive. So I made a practice folder, but I'll make a new one since we're demonstrating how to do things. So if I want to make a new folder in my Google Drive, I'll click that plus sign that says new, and then click folder, and then we give that folder a name. Generally, your folders are organized in alphabetical order, and you may have noticed in My Drive, I've put asterisks in front of some of my names of folders, and that's because those are the most common things that I use most frequently, so I want them towards the top of my list. So in this case, I'm going to give it 3 asterisks, and we're going to call this the Google Drive test folder. This will make it so that this folder appears directly at the top of my list. So if this was a folder I was going to be accessing quite often, that it's going to be there and ready for me to go. I also can right-click this folder and change the color of it. So if I want to make it stand out a little more, maybe make it be a bright yellow or red color, you can certainly do that and kind of make the folder stand out. So if I open this folder, as of right now, there's nothing in it, and that's good. but I'm going to put some stuff in it. And so let's say I have these 3 files on my desktop over here on the right, and I want to add those to my drive. One's just a Word document, and if I want to add that to my drive, I just would highlight it and then drag it so that I'm ready to drop it. And once I drop it, you can see it starts to upload that Word document into Google Drive. And there it is. If I want to upload a PDF, I absolutely can do that as well. Just same process, highlight it, drag it, let go, and it'll start to upload into your Google Drive. Maybe you want an image. You certainly could do that. Just highlight it, drag it, drop it, and it starts to upload. You can do more than one at a time. I could highlight all 3 of these and drag them and drop them, and you can see all 3 are starting to upload into Google Drive. It'll sometimes identify if you have similar names. In this case, I'll keep them separate, so I have duplicates. But that's basically all it takes in terms of uploading your files that you may currently have on your computer hard drive to making them go into the virtual hard drive that is Google Drive. One of the most wonderful features of Google Drive is that you can now access these files anywhere that you have an internet connection. So there's an app for it for your phone. Chromebooks can use it. Desktops can use it, and you can access these files. So if you've ever had your computer crash on you before and you've lost all of your work, that won't be the case for you with Google Drive. Joe, any comments on this uploading piece?
I think the examples that you just showed of files you can upload are great because the formats will always stay the same when you put them in Drive. Whether it's PDF, Word, a JPEG, it's not automatically converting anything, so you won't have to worry about your formatting being ruined.
And in my example, I don't have a PowerPoint or a spreadsheet, but those would also transfer seamlessly as well. Correct, Joe?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fabulous. So one of the cool things about Google Drive is that you're able to collaborate and work with other people who also are Google Drive users. So for instance, this Word document, let's say it's a quiz or a test or something that I'm collaborating. Let's make this text a little bigger so you can kind of see what's going on. For this test, I can invite people to work on the same document with me. And to do that, it's basically as simple as just clicking this share button in the top right corner and then typing in the name or email address of the person you want to share it with. So if I want to share it with my good friend Joe Benvega, I just start to write his name and I can see all the Josephs popping up in RESD. So I want to send it to Joe and I can add a note like, hey, can you help me with this? And on the right here where this pencil is, this allows me to kind of give certain editing rights to Joe. Do I want him to be able to just change the document freely? Do I want him just to be able to put comments in the document? Or do I want him to just be able to view it and not make any changes? In this case, I'm going to let him edit so he can do whatever he wants to this document. Once I've done that, Joe now has received an email indicating that he can now collaborate on this document with me. And this will show up on his shared with me files in his Google Drive. If you recall, when we were in Google Drive, I talked about the shared with me piece. Joe would be seeing this document show up on his end that it would be something that's shared with him. So I may see Joe popping in any second now, and there he is. You can see his little head here, and he is also now working on this document with me. And so we're collaborating on this single doc in real time, which is really a fabulous tool, especially if it's the weekend and you're not working together in the building itself. You can certainly still get some stuff done virtually and asynchronously. So it's pretty sweet. Joe, any thoughts or comments on the sharing piece that I'm missing?
No, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory at that point. It goes across all Google apps, so that you would share the same way. There's nothing different when you're talking about slides or drawings or anything like that.
One thing I may want to add to this is if I wanted to share this to a broader audience, like maybe this was a newsletter or something that I was pushing out to my class, I can click this Get Shareable Link icon. And if I copy this big long link, I can then give it to someone and they could then access this document. Now your settings in terms of sharing here are going to be kind of a little bit more robust than if you were just sharing with an individual person. I typically make it public on the web just so that people don't have to log into their RUSD account to see it. So if they're on their home computer and they're using their personal Gmail, they could still look at the document if I wanted that to happen. Otherwise, you certainly can make it that they have to be an RUSD user, and then they would have to log into their RUSD account to be able to see this document. Where it says access down here and can view, this is where you can change it to being able to edit, comment, or just view. And basically you can change these settings, click save. And now
I'm going to jump in on that public point real quick, Dave. So public on the web is totally fine. Just make sure if that is one of the sharing settings you're using, that the document doesn't contain any sensitive info about students. So any IEP information, stuff like that. What Dave is talking about would be totally fine to have it public, but just be aware of student privacy.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So using this for things like if you're pushing out a newsletter, or there's important information such as like a final exam coming up or a project that's due, that I think would be fine. But if you have pictures of students, or like Joe said, IEPs or any type of sensitive information, make sure then you do keep it within RUSD as your sharing rights, so that just no Joe Smo can basically take a look at this. So that takes care of sharing. That's one way you can share, is by using this blue icon. In the folder itself, then look back in my Google Drive, I can pick any of these files that I have and right-click them, and that allows me to actually click this plus person icon and share it directly from my Google Drive. So the process is the same. I can now type in someone's email address or name here and then give them the ability to edit, comment, or view, or you can click Get Shareable Link, and it all basically comes out to the same end. But there's multiple ways in which you can go and share things through Google Drive. So that should give you a little bit of a basics of the rundown on Google Drive. There certainly is a lot more that we could probably spend time talking about. But again, if you need help or support, your tech integrators are wonderful people to go to for help or support, or your instructional coaches are another resource for you if you're really struggling with using Google Drive. But I can't recommend it enough, and with being able to access your files from anywhere that there's an internet connection, and the ability to basically have your files backed up so that if your computer ever does crash or die, you haven't lost everything that you've worked so hard on. So if there's no other comments from Joe, I think we'll sign out on this instructional video, and we look forward to working with you all next time.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
And thank you, Joe, for your help and support. Bye, everyone.